Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's segment. Today, I'm working with Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Thank you for doing this. Cindy is also our web designer, you guys, and also a yogi and a yoga teacher. Thanks for doing this. So Cindy is going to help us demonstrate safety first in your yoga Ballrz class. It's very important that you guys prep the body before you guys carry any weight. Even when you start doing yoga, you definitely want to lube up your joints, your wrist, elbows, and hips. And we're going to show you ways of doing that. So we're going to start off first in a seated position. Starting off with the wrist first. So go ahead and connect the palms together and just begin to circle them around so that you connect the knuckles together, connect the wrists, and then circling them. Good. I like to describe this as you're brushing the fingers towards the chest and then opening up the palms. And then notice if you're holding any tension, you want to be nice and fluid with your movement. How's your face? Soften. And just soften the breath. And then roll it the opposite direction. So go ahead and bring the knuckles together, sweep the fingers towards the chest, and then open up the palms. Good. Again, notice if you're holding tension in the shoulder, your jaw, soften and soften the breath. Good. And then slowly release from here and just shake the energy off the wrist. And then now we're just going to do elbow rolls. Just circling the elbows one direction, like you're fanning yourself. Diva. Yes. Or you're smelling aroma, right? Like you're in the kitchen. Yes. And then circle the opposite direction as well. Fantastic. And then shake this off. Good. Now, using a block or no block, we're going to take a nice little side bend here so we can roll around on the shoulders. So we'll start off with the right side. Go ahead and plant your palm either to the block or no block. If you're planting your palm on there, we're going to lean over to the right side so you can stack your shoulders, and then you're going to circle that left arm around. Good. Let your shoulders be soft here, but then let your fingers be active so that you let your hands do the driving. Good. Just a few circles here. And then take a pause so you can circle the opposite direction. Good. And a couple more rounds. And then slowly let yourself relax again. Come back to center. Take a block with you. Go ahead and bring that block over to the left side. So same deal here. Block or no block. Plant the left palm down to the floor. Leaning over towards the left, stacking your shoulders. Now pick up that right arm and then circle the shoulders. Good. And again, notice that if your shoulders tense, relax the shoulders and let the fingers do the driving. A couple more rounds here. And then slowly pause so you can go the opposite direction. There is no set count. There is no set time here. Just give yourself enough time to just kind of roll around here before, during, or after your yoga practice. Good. And then start to slow it down so you can find yourself back to neutral. Fantastic. Now we're going to change orientation here. I'm going to ask Cindy to come up onto all fours in her tabletop pose. So at the tabletop, basically coming down onto all fours, we're going to stack your palms underneath the shoulders and stack the hips over the knees. Now watch out for a little bit of space. You guys need to make room for this one here because we're going to do hip circles. So picking up your right knee, draw the right knee to the shoulder, and then bring the knee to the elbow, and then bring it around. And then just circling it through. Good. And again, just notice if you're beginning to curl and crunch. You want to just kind of soften through the hip socket so that you can find more space and make the circles maybe bigger and wider. I'll let the toes do the driving in this one. Good. And it doesn't hurt to get that belly engaged, but you don't have to. I'm really more concerned about the hips opening. But if you're all about core, sure, draw that belly in. Let's go ahead and begin to spin it the opposite direction. So slow it down and just go opposite direction. It might take you a second to say, okay, which direction was I going? You'll know the difference, okay, I haven't felt this way before. Let the toes do the driving. The belly could be engaged if you wish. Good. And just a couple more rounds here. Fantastic. And then allow yourself again to slow down and come back down to all fours. Now, if you notice, you could always come back down, lean back onto your heels so you can circle the wrist one more time. Just circle, 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 and then circle, circle the opposite direction. So again, you could do this between the practice or between postures, or you could start with it or you could end with it. Nice. come back to all fours, and let's do the other side. So picking up the left knee, draw the knee towards the chest, bring it to the outside, and then spin it towards the back, and begin to circle it through. Good. You're gonna know when your hips are open enough to like circle a little bit wider, and the intention is to just kind of have this nice little circumduction movement and let the toes do the driving, so you're not squeezing your butt cheeks so much, you're not engaging the thighs. It's really about relaxing and then having yourself open fluidly here. Nice. And then slow it down so you could spin it the opposite direction. Good. Draw it back to the side and to the chest. Nice and slow. And then again, once you get the nice groove going, then maybe you're going to open up a little bit wider, make the circles a little bit wider. Core could be engaged here or not. Again, I want you guys to just soften through the hip sockets here and just lube it up. Good. And then slow it back down so you can make yourself come back down into neutral. If you want to sink back towards your heels to release the wrists, go for it. Good. And then slowly find yourself back to all fours. And I'm just going to show you that variation now into downward facing dog. Once you make it down from downward facing dog, okay, we're just going to let yourself come up, hips nice and high to the sky. Go ahead and bend one knee at a time first. You can just now lube up through the heels a little bit, lube up through the ankles, lube up through the knees. Good. And then maybe pressing the shoulders back a little bit, give yourself some space there to lengthen the spine a little bit, and begin to press onto your fingers. As you press onto the fingertips, go ahead and lift your right leg up behind you. Good. Again, from here, pause for a moment. Now I do want your core to engage, so draw that belly in. Now, your choice. I'm going to ask Cindy to do hip circles here, just like we did on the floor. Go ahead and begin to circle the hips like in a clockwise direction. If this is too much, you could always have the option to bend at the knee, just to see what that difference is like. Cindy, your choice. Bent knee, straighten knee, your choice. Maybe about 3-4 rounds here, not a problem. And then go ahead and spin it the opposite direction. Same deal here, just like we did on all fours. I'm just giving you guys some variety. Good. And then slow it down so you can plant yourself back into your downward facing dog. Keep pressing to your fingertips so you can lift that left leg behind you. So again, safety first. Find your sweet alignment. The toes are nice and engaged behind you. Pressing the chest towards the thighs. And then same deal here. Begin to play with helicoptering that left leg one direction. And then see what it feels like with the knee bent. If see if that gives you a little bit more space, if that feels more comfortable for you. Whichever variation you choose, the idea is for you just to kind of circumduct nice big circles. And as you slow it down, begin to spin it the opposite direction. And same deal here. If you want to switch it with the knee bent, totally cool. Good. Nice. And then begin to straighten out the knees so you can plant yourself back down into that nice little downward facing dog. Downward facing dog, go ahead and bend your knees. Take an inhale, look forward. And as you exhale, slowly walk to the tops of the mats. Good. Stay in a forward fold for a moment. Grab all of the opposite elbows into ragdoll and just sway the head gently, yes or no. This is a good time for you to do a self-check on your hamstrings as well. You can always add the bends at the knees to give your hamstrings a little bit more space and allow yourself to just melt forward. Good. Release your fingertips all the way down towards the floor. And then we're going to ask Cindy to roll all the way up to standing. Pause. Good. So for this next segment, I just want to give you guys an idea what this joint freeing looks like from standing. You can basically just go ahead and roll through the wrist here. You can even put it together. Just roll them around freely and roll them around the opposite direction. Roll the elbows and then roll them the opposite direction. The same deal here. You can like roll the shoulders around and then roll them the opposite direction. Come back to your mountain pose. Think about maybe considering shrugging the shoulders up and around, up and around. Good, and then spin it the opposite direction. Good. Shrug the shoulders towards the ears first so you can come back and release to neutral. Now using the palms for support, wrap the fingers right over the waistline here so you can lean your body weight towards the left leg, left foot, and then picking up your right leg, maybe you begin to circle around. You can stay up onto your tippy toes if that helps, but we're gonna just circle like your hips one direction, And circle them the opposite direction. Good. You could even circle through the ankle if you wish, and circle it the opposite direction. Good. Go ahead and ground your feet. Do the same thing on the left side. So switch the body weight to the right. Begin to circle through the hip. And circle it the opposite direction. If you want to go ahead and spin your left ankle around, go ahead and do that as well. And spin that the opposite direction. Good. And go ahead and plant yourself back into your Tadasana spine and shake off the whole body. Just shake it off. Fantastic. Okay, so now we want to demonstrate for you guys how to properly hang onto those balls in your vinyasa flow. It's very important to notice the difference between gripping the balls tightly versus loose grip. Okay? I would suggest a tight grip on the ball when you're pushing weight onto them, when you're load bearing onto the balls. Have a nice grip so that you have your arms engaged, you have your torso engaged, okay? And you have a little bit more control, having that core engaged as well. So Cindy's going to demonstrate for us how to come down into a low push-up. So first with the modified push-up, you reach the shoulders up towards the top edge of your mat so you can stack the elbows over the wrist and come down into a modified push-up. Pause here. Good. And then push yourself back up onto all fours into neutral. Again, try that again. So the shoulders reach forward, let yourself dip down. Good. And then bring yourself back up. Fantastic. Now, if this feels like a challenge for you, stay here. I'm now going to ask Cindy to come into a plank position. So she lifts now the knees. Same deal here. You want to get the arms engaged. Now, notice if you don't engage the arms. So Cindy, soften your grip. Soften your grip. And then versus get a good grip and squeeze. So the squeeze is where the magic happens because you feel the shoulders wake up, you feel the serratus anterior wake up, and you feel your core wake up. So same deal here. Go ahead and reach your shoulders towards the top edge of your mat and then lower down for a push-up. Good. And then press onto the balls, lift up again. So we're back into plank. So again, we're going to do that one more time. So reach the shoulders towards the top edge of your mat and then slowly lower down for a push-up. Fantastic. Lower all the way down, Cindy. Lower all the way down. Okay, so release the toes. So now that we're flat onto the floor, I'm going to show you guys the best, safest way, pain-free way of getting into those back bends. So we'll start off with Cobra. With the Cobra pose, it's the same deal here. You use your back muscle to lift the chest off the floor, to scoop it into a Cobra. But I want you guys to grip the ball and pump it towards the thighs. So you bring the balls behind you. You're using the traction of the balls to lift up a little bit more. So notice the difference, Cindy, between a soft grip versus a harder grip. Okay? That's what I want you guys to feel. And then slowly lower. Fantastic. Now I'm going to ask Cindy to go into a upward facing dog. So go ahead and lift up. As you lift up again, take the balls, pump the balls towards the toes. So you're really opening up the chest here. Take a moment first to see the difference between light grip or no grip versus with grip. Nice. Again, feel it first, take a moment, and if this is too much for you, stay with Cobra. Go ahead and lower, Cindy. Take a pause here. Now I'm going to show you guys a transition for the back bend into downward facing dog. Before doing that, again, you want to definitely engage the fingertips around the balls. As you peel yourself back to up dog or Cobra, you choose whatever is comfortable for you, Cindy. Good. Then make your way onto all fours, tuck in the toes, exhale, pump the hips back to downward facing dog, pump the balls away from you. Nice. I love the adjustment. So Cindy just showed you what hyperextension looks like on the wrist, which is what you want to avoid. Definitely want to keep the wrist as straight, as neutral as possible so that you don't hyperextend the wrists. So show us again the difference, Cindy. This is no bueno versus pumping it forward, rolling it. You probably feel your fingertips to the floor, which is fine. We're not applying weight like that on there, but you might feel like a pinch. Good. One more breath. Good. Now stay in downward dog. Now release the balls and just plant into a regular downward facing dog. Voila, you guys. You always have the option to use the balls or not in any of these postures. That's the beautiful part about the balls, is that you guys can grip it whenever you want, or you can just kind of let it roll away and just come into your standard downward facing dog. Now from downward facing dog, let's go ahead and take an inhale, bend the knees, look up. And as we exhale, go ahead and step to the top of the mats. Don't bring the balls with you, Cindy. Go ahead and inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, deeper forward fold. Good. And then come all the way up to standing again. Good. Bring the palms together and close. In this segment, I'm going to show you guys how you can use the balls in postures and in the flow. So basically, you want to bring the balls to the chest. So start here. I would call this the neutral space because at some point, you're either going to lift the balls up and over the head or separate the balls like a letter T. Good. Or you might find yourself bringing the balls forward. So notice like all of these movements are distal positions. Again, bring the balls to the side and then bring the balls up towards the sky. Good. Whenever it feels too much, you could always come back to neutral. So just draw the balls right over towards the shoulders, towards the chest. Nice. Now, if this even becomes too much for you guys, consider now bringing the balls right over the hips. Nice. So, demonstration. Show me warrior one arms. Good. So you could always be in a warrior one legs. You could use the balls or not, but at the end of the day, the balls are lifted like you would in warrior one. And if it becomes too much, you're still in warrior one legs. Now bring the balls over to the chest or to the shoulders. Good. And if it's just way too much, you can bring the balls over towards hips. You're still in warrior one. So just imagine. So same difference goes for the crescent lunge. Again, you lift the arms over the head. There's your crescent. Maybe bring the balls up towards the chest. Now, interestingly enough, transition to warrior two, you bring the balls to the chest and then open the arms out into warrior two arms. And you guys get the gist of it, right? Keeping the warrior two arms, if you were to go to warrior three, you bring the balls to the chest first. Lean the body weight forward, Cindy. You don't have to go to the full pose, but lean the body weight forward. As your torso leans forward, stay here or draw the balls away from you. Good. Full expression, warrior three, or bring the balls to the chest and then fly into airplane mode instead. There you go. There's your variation. I love it. Cindy's going for it. Yeah, why not, right? So notice the difference too between soft grip versus full grip. Good. Slowly bring yourself back up to neutral, Cindy. Good. Release and then bring the balls back towards the hips. Now, one thing I want to also explain to you guys is the differences between soft grip and hard grip in the poses, especially when you have a distal scenario, you're drawing the arms away from you. So starting off with the balls to the chest, go ahead and lift the balls up and over the head. Now in this pose, it's not necessary for you to grip the balls. Now have a soft grip and see what happens there. It's like you're doing this lifting of the balls, but your knuckles aren't so tense. Notice the difference between there, and now do a hard grip. So again, soft grip versus hard grip. And then take a break, bring the balls to the chest again, and then lower it back down. In this portion, you guys, we're going to demonstrate how the ball is used when we do some leg work, glute work. So Cindy already has this one ball in her hand, and we're going to just demonstrate onto the right side. So bending at the right knee, you want to go ahead and plant that ball right behind the knee as you squeeze the calf into the hamstring. You can take the palm and just wrap it around your waist for now. So you can notice that as you squeeze the ball, the grip, it's nice and sticky. You can do leg lifts here. You can squeeze, you can draw it forward and back. Think postures, maybe from all fours when you guys are doing sunbird, or when you guys are doing Chapasana, or when you guys are doing dancer's pose. Think about that when you guys are bending at the knee and just squeezing the ball here. Even if you held this for a good 5 breaths, do you feel it already, Cindy? It's a new kind of burning sensation, the good kind. Nice. And then softly go ahead and release, grab a hold of the ball. Good. And then allow yourself to just release and take a break here. Now Cindy and I are going to show you how to make your Utkatasana chair pose interesting. I know this is a class favorite for a lot of people, and now we're going to make you even love it even more. So as you bend your knee, position yourself into the Utkatasana legs. Okay? This time take your 2-pound blue balls and stick it right above the knee so you can squeeze the thighs together and gripping hold of that. Nice. And pause for a moment. Now, if your big toes can touch, go for it. Otherwise, keep the feet nice and parallel. Keep squeezing the ball and sink the hips. So the general rules apply. You want to see the toes past the knees. You want to keep the spine nice and straight. And then lift the arms up and over the head. All right. So if you think this is good, stay here. You're getting those adductor muscles nice and engaged. Keep squeezing. And for those of you who want to take this up a notch, go ahead and lift the heels off the floor, see what that feels like. Yep, it brings it a whole new level. Cindy's really smiling on the inside. She's more nervous dropping the ball. That's another layer of complexity at Ballrz, you guys. Nobody wants to drop the balls. Good. And take one more breath here. Good. So if you lifted your heels, go ahead and bring the heels down, everybody. Good. Go ahead and grab hold of the ball, Cindy, so you can let yourself release. Now the second piece, check it out. Go ahead and grab hold of the other ball, Cindy. For those of you who just love all this core work and love the chair pose, here's the second variation. So set yourself up for the chair, bending at the knee, put the ball right above the knee, squeeze the thighs. Good. Now take the ball, just simply wrap it between the palms like a prayer. If you want to, you can interlace as well. You can squeeze if you want or not. Now the idea is for you to come back into that chair, find your foundation, squeeze the ball up and over the head. There's so many things you guys can do here. You can come down and come to a flat back if you wish, see what that feels like, and then lift up again into chair or maybe neutral spine. Again, maybe flat back, feel it, keep squeezing that grapefruit over your head, and then lift it back up. Or if you want static, stay in chair, now lift the heels off the floor. Nice. Imagine doing this for 5 breaths. Or heck, test it out. I'm not gonna make Cindy do that because she's my supermodel, and we're gonna do more stuff. Good, take one more breath in, and then slowly straighten yourself, release. Good, place the balls by the hips and shake it off, fantastic. For the last piece here, you guys, is our cool down. Now, generally speaking, when it comes to cool down, you don't have to use the balls, but we've seen lots of students, they don't wanna let go of the balls in their practice, so feel free to have that option. So in this particular segment, we're just gonna do a little bit of twist. So go ahead and twist over to the right, Cindy. Without the balls first, just to give you a feel, just to give you a sense. Good, and then go ahead and twist over to the left side. Nice, and then come back to neutral. Now notice the difference, go ahead and grab the balls. And then twist yourself over to the right this time. So the idea with the balls, not so much is now weight training, it is more assistance, more of a deeper adjust. You can use the ball's traction because they're sticky to kind of take your twist just a deeper layer. And then slowly bring the balls back to center, bring yourself back to center, and just switch sides. So again, it's really more using the texture of the balls to take your twist just a tad deeper. You notice the difference there, Cindy? Yeah. You might like it, you guys, you might not. So again, you know, don't be so obsessed with the balls. They come back at the center. But notice the difference. Staying with the cool down postures, you guys. Cindy's gonna set herself up for a forward fold. So you choose, Cindy, which forward fold you wanna get into first. Paschimottanasana or wide straddle, you choose. Okay, so first and foremost, same deal here. When you guys come into a forward fold, go right into it, Cindy. Belly's still engaged, you're still breathing. Remember, this is still yoga, so don't panic or freak out, you guys. The balls are just another extension of the practice. So give this a couple more breaths, Cindy, just to get yourself melting forward. And then as you rise on up, grab hold of the balls and then add the balls now into this forward fold. So same deal here if you want to bring the balls to the chest first and then let yourself come to a flat back. And then notice now if you're going to extend your arms out into the forward fold. Maybe you use the traction of the balls to crawl yourself further into the fold. I've seen some people also just place their wrist over the toes and then let the arms or let their hands dangle right over the heels. See what that feels like. It just changes the dynamic of the posture. Good, just a couple more breaths here. Nice. And then I would use the traction of the balls to pump yourself back up to an upright position. And one more demonstration, Cindy, I'd like to see a wide straddle variation because there's a couple of cool things that I want to show people as well. So with the wide straddle variation here, give yourself a moment. Again, without using the balls, allow yourself to come to a forward fold. Just let yourself feel first, like, okay, this is nice. Beautiful wide straddle. Hip opening here, twinkle your toes a little bit. Good. Maybe sink just a little bit deeper. And again, maybe you're gonna use the core, use the palms, bring yourself to an upright position. Now here's where you find the balls. So taking the balls, you can either bring the balls to the chest like Cindy did and then make your way back to a forward fold, or simply bring the balls to the floor. Now as you come to the forward fold, use the balls as traction to peel your arms, your shoulders farther away towards the top, towards the front. Good. It's like those TRX bands, like it's kind of pulling you. Use the rubbery portions of these balls to allow yourself to just grip against that floor and crawl it even further. See if you can feel that and crawl it further. Nice, Cindy. And then so the other option, go ahead and use the traction of the balls to crawl yourself back to neutral. Now don't go up so far yet, Cindy, because I want you to come to a forward fold again, but now take the balls away outside towards the legs, reach for it towards the inside ankles, or place it again up and over the feet. Your call. See what that all feels like? Very different. Now you're opening the shoulders again, opening the upper back. How's that feel so far? It's pretty cool, right? Yeah. People are making fun of us like, really only 2 pounds? You guys, give it a shot first. And then go ahead and slowly crawl yourself back up to neutral. Put the ball somewhere aside. Now, keynote here, bend your knees first, grab a hold of the thighs and bring the legs together. Maybe calendar roll yourself side to side, place the palms behind you, and then swish the legs side to side. Nice. And then coming back into a nice little easy pose, crossing the legs. Take a moment here. On behalf of Cindy and myself, thank you guys so much for watching, guys. We hope this has been helpful for you guys, and hopefully that you guys find this nice and easy to bring into your practice. Namaste.